Subnautica. I'm sorry, that's the wrong game. This is real life. Titan. What a crazy 96 hours it has been. Damn. Titan that has been holding the whole internet by the throat, by the neck. I did not believe that there's a recreational tour to see Titanic on the bottom of the ocean. I thought it's only used by Bikini Bottom as a museum. That's a good joke. Anywho, for anyone to go to check out the ruins of Titanic 4,000 meters under the surface of the water, I didn't know people would do that for any reason. Hi, it's me, Akma, with Not So Hot Show, and boy, we have a lot to discuss. If you were living under a rock, there's a submersible, not a submarine, submersible that went missing on Sunday when it lost contact with its mothership, aka the dog, and people started panicking because 5 very wealthy people were on that submersible. So the passengers were this British Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his 19-year-old son. This is nuts. French submersible pilot Paul Henry Nargelou, British billionaire and pilot Hamish Harding, who actually took a trip with Bezos to the space. And lastly, but not least, the CEO and the founder of OceanGate, Stockton Rush. This is like a very CEO name, and I thought this is a fake name because what person would name themselves, like what parent would name their kids Stockton Rush? Apparently his parents are extremely rich people, like generationally wealthy. His dad's lineage signed the Declaration of Independence back in, the days, and his mom is also like very wealthy from 1800s point on. I'm changing my desk. So as I mentioned before, this is submersible, not a submarine, because a submarine is a underwater vehicle that is able to kind of go on the whole journey itself and then come back from it as well. But a submersible is not. It just basically dives and somehow comes back, but it needs this sort of a dock, a mothership to coordinate with, to talk to, everything. So basically the submersible didn't have any intel on where I should go, where are the coordinations. So the mother dock would basically send a text message being like, so keep going down and then turn like 20 degrees to the east and just keep going and you'll find Titanic somewhere there. It is an extremely sad news and it's not fun. But if you look into this company, which is named OceanGate. Yes, OceanGate. This guy, Stockton Rush, most billionaire name ever, decided to name his company OceanGate after Watergate happened. That sounds like a great idea. I mean, again, live up to its name, right? You start understanding why it happened the way it happened. So in 2018, there was a segment done by CBS where they, interviewed Stockton Rush about Titan. The journalist was shooketh, literally shooketh by the way this submersible was built, how it was built, how it was operated, and the waiver you need to sign.
An experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death. Where do I sign?
We only have one button, that's it. It should be like an elevator. It shouldn't take a lot of skill.
And yet, I couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components.
I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on!
Everything is as if it's made like with a DIY glue YouTube video. Like, hey, do you want to make your submersible at home just under $20? I got you covered. Like, this is the vibe of the submersible Stockton Rush, because he's like, oh, this light came from, I don't know, IKEA. We're operating this whole thing with a Logitech joystick on a AAA battery. What if the battery's gonna run out? I don't know. What if it somehow disconnects? Do you have a USB port, like USB cable to connect it with? I don't know. It's just fucking insane. Like, he says that this submersible, all it needs to do is just to come down and come up. Everything can fail and you'll still be safe. Apparently it's not true, because there were whistleblowers that worked for OceanGate that were like, hey, this is not safe. The materials we're using are Yes, they're industrial, but they're not meant for an expedition to go 4,000 meters underwater, 13,000 feet, I think, because you have to realize what's the pressure down there. Either it's like the weight of Paris's Eiffel Tower or Empire State Building's like weight just like compressing on you from all sides. Imagine that. And you have to design something that is strong enough to withhold that basically pressure and even more. This submersible was safe to go under a certain point, but not more than that. And a lot of submarines, like the proper submarines, they have to go way and beyond just to be safe. But this guy was like, if you are not willing to take a risk, but then maybe you shouldn't go travel. Maybe you shouldn't do all of those things, because you know what? The future favors the brave. Thank you, Mark Wahlberg. Thank you very much. This like window thing that you're looking through to the Titanic, that was not like a very good window that would withhold the pressure. Basically, these whistleblowers said that there were so many corners cut cost-wise. There was nothing tested, and all of like the material and the way everything was built was not up to standards. It was not meant to be used in the way it was used. And then you have to basically sign this waiver that says death on it like 8 times, saying that, you know, you are aware that this submersible has not been tested, that has not been approved by any certifications. They didn't even try to get any certifications. You might die, so please sign this waiver. Rich people were like, yeah, fuck yeah, sign me up. It's not only the rich people who actually took that trip. There are actually people that saved up and were so enthusiastic about Titanic, to see Titanic.
She's been saving up to see the Titanic for 30 years.
Dreams don't have a price. Some people want a Ferrari. Some people buy a house. I wanted to go to Titanic.
And the weather conditions have to be so perfect to go on this trip that most of the times it actually didn't happen, because it has to be really perfect. And every time the weather is not that good, the thing is canceled. The way you start your journey to the Titanic with OceanGate, you basically gonna go on the ship. You're gonna start your way on the coast. I don't remember where exactly, on the east coast, and then you're gonna swim 900 miles to the wreckage of the Titanic for about 8 days. You party, you have fun, and then you have this submersible experience that lasts several hours. And yeah, that's the whole trip. And then you pay for it. Wait for it. $250,000, $250,000 for you to see a ship that has been long gone under the water and is so crusty. Yeah, so back to the story. How it all began. They started their trip 8 days later on Sunday. The people that paid for this ticket, these 5 people that we mentioned before, they went into this submersible. They dived, and after a couple of hours, when Titan lost the connection with the dock, they realized that Titan was lost under the sea. Sorry. They notified the authorities. US and Canada deployed their like planes and ships, the submarines and the sonic buoys to find that submersible. And the clock started to tick. This whole submersible had about 96 hours of oxygen in it, and people were counting, oh my god, 72 hours left. Oh, 24 hours left. And I was like, yeah, no shit, you're not gonna find it. And you know, we were all hopeful that we'll find it, but realistically, it was almost impossible. Even if you find it, the best case scenario, you find it somewhere on the surface, just floating around. Somehow you find it there, and you open the fuse from the outside. And if it's stuck between like the Titanic's rusty ship somewhere in the wreckage, how the fuck are you gonna get it out? And when they had, think about couple of hours left of oxygen, and people were trying to speculate, well, you know, it's over, because even if they find them and like, let's say 3-4 hours of oxygen left, while they take them out, while they bring it up to the surface, is going to take more than those many hours. So when they said that they heard the noises, like these banging noises in the ocean, I really thought these were the people that were stuck somewhere maybe, and they were banging, you know, on the, like, basically the walls of the submersible, because they were panicking, obviously. But apparently, when they investigated the noise, it was not coming from this Titan. After all 96 hours finished, one of these robots basically found somewhere nearby the Titanic wreckage pieces of Titan, which means it imploded. I was like shit scared. Like, imagine being in the dark with 4 other disgusting people, wasting the oxygen, and you are isolated in a small space, and you know you're gonna die. This is like my worst nightmare. I do not fuck with water. I watch a lot of these like scary stories about the professional cave divers. Why would you put yourself through like that? Like it's extremely dangerous. You get lost, you get stuck. Even if you were in this like submarine and it's an easy go down, go up, it's like I don't get it. Like it's such a small cramped space and it's cold and it's dark. I'd rather go into space than I'll go in the ocean, because ocean is a very unforgiving environment. There's no light, extreme water pressure, forget it. The point is, Titan was a disaster waiting to happen. I don't blame these people to sign this waiver. I really blame the CEO, saying that it's safe and everything fails, you'll be fine. And he claimed that NASA, Boeing, and University of Washington, like the best experts there, helped him to build Titan. And they all came out and said, no, we didn't do anything with it. We didn't help in any way. I never understood people who take those risks, especially when they're that rich. Apparently, they've seen everything in life. Now they want to discover something even crazier. This is my opinion. The more money you have, the more limitless the world is, and the more boring the world gets. I've done it all, I've seen it all, and then you do that kind of shit. Who I really feel sorry for is this 19-year-old boy. I think he didn't deserve it in any way. I'm not saying that the other people on this ship, they deserved it, but like these guys are educated, these guys have tons of money, they have lawyers, they have every resource possible to understand that what they're doing is extremely dangerous, and do this like a background check on this company. It's not like a simple person like us just being like, yeah, I want to try this shit, and I'm gonna sign away this waiver, and I'm gonna do it. These are really, top of the top people. Honestly, if I would do something that dangerous and I was that rich, I would make sure that this company's thoroughly checked. And by the way, it says on the waiver that this submersible didn't go through any certification, didn't obtain any certification at all. Yeah. By the way, I have to mention that this submersible had no GPS, had no like way of tracking where they are. No, nothing. They didn't know where they are. They relied on the dock to tell them where to go, where they are, and how to come back.
But on this dive, communications somehow broke down. The sub never found the wreck.
We were lost. We were lost for 2.5 hours.
Also, in 2018, Marine Technology Society complained and wrote a letter to Stockton Rush saying that you're falsely advertising the safety of this submersible. So people were misled. Just telling you. They refused a third party to test the vessel. So he was warned, because there were whistleblowers that told, hey, this is not safe. An outside organization told, hey, bro, that's not safe. And he's like, no, it's safe. Either you're taking a risk or you're not. Well, this is the consequence. You live one life. You take a risk, you take responsibilities. He said he thought of himself to be this pioneer, rule breaker. When it comes to safety, I think you shouldn't break any rules. In any other way, sure, try to think more differently of how things can be used, or how like you can be innovative and cutting edge in many other ways, not at the cost of the safety. When the Titan imploded, before it imploded, they knew something was wrong, because they activated this mechanism that would take the submersible up to the surface again. At least it was an instantaneous death. I cannot imagine what's it like slowly running out of oxygen in an extremely small space with like 4 different strangers that you don't know, and everyone's panicking. And this is the worst, when people panic. It's like you panic, people panic, you contemplate your death, this is over for you, and you cannot communicate in any way with people you love, and you're just stuck in this kind of basically a little tube, not even a proper toilet. You cannot even shit your pants in peace. As bad as it sounds, I'm glad that it imploded rather than them being stuck and slowly running out of oxygen. Like, death happens. I'm sorry, it's a thing that happens. Rather it happens to you and you're not there, then you understand that you're dying, and out of your own agreement to this death. If you got cancer and life is unfair and you're slowly dying, it's one thing, versus to agree to this bullshit. And now I am suffering the consequences. Especially the dad who took his son with him. Maybe the son wanted to go with him. He said, Dad, I want to come with you. And Dad was like, yeah, okay, fine, sure. But still, you would feel guilty as a dad to bring your kid along. So I'm glad it happened very instantaneously. Nobody probably suffered. Maybe they realized a second or couple of moments, that something is wrong. But then instantaneous death. Painless. What does it teach us? I'm really shocked how this was allowed on any... I know it's private and I know it's commercial. I'm just shocked how, no authority came along and was like, bro, we're investigating what you're doing. We heard what you're doing and this is not safe. Like, we have to test. You cannot just do this to people. I don't care whatever crazy waiver you sign. This shouldn't be the thing. And I'm kind of surprised that, like, this was sort of allowed or went under the radar, because OceanGate, apparently was a known thing. It's not like something under the table operation sort of a thing. I'm not risky at all, to the point, like, whenever I ski like that to make sure I'm extremely slow. I do not go down the slope like that easy, because I'm afraid if at that kind of a speed, if I fall or something happens, I might break my leg. I'm even scared to break my bones, because I've never broke my bone in my life. I don't know what it feels like. And it's like a crazy psychology. Some people really understand the risk and they want to take the risk. I have this friend who really loves like risky stuff. She drives extremely fast. She takes like this crazy risky sports, and like she's smart. She understands that, it's potentially death, but she still wants to do it because she loves it. It's adrenaline, and she's like fucking addicted to it. So my friend actually had a friend who passed away. It was a very bad weather. He overestimated his capabilities. He was a professional, but he probably overestimated his abilities to navigate during this weather, and he basically crashed because she always wanted to do paragliding. And after her dear friend who passed away from this paragliding incident, I asked her, hey, do you still want to do it? Like, this is nuts. Like, I would never do it if it happened to my friend. She's like, yeah, I'm still gonna do it. I'm like, why? Like, your friend who was a professional passed away from it and you still not scared to do it? She's like, no, it's part of the risk, part of life, and something you will have to accept. I'm like, okay. Just FYI, this was a very expensive search and rescue operation, involving both US and Canada. And we are taxpayers. I'm okay, I don't live in the US and Canada. I'm not part of your tax system, but you as taxpayers, humble working people, have to pay for the search and rescue operation by the decision of this extra rich millionaires, billionaires taking this on decision. And I don't think it's fair, like, the taxpayers to cover something that could have been like simply avoided. This is like millions of dollars. Honestly, it should be paid by OceanGate to pay for this search and rescue operation, because I'm sorry, why should we people pay for what they decided to do? Anywho, I just hope we learn from this, especially when it comes to falsely advertise something is safe when it's not safe and there's no like proper regulation or certificate. Stay safe, guys. Do not go underwater. Please don't go cave diving. Don't do that shit. Don't paraglide. Like, don't do that kind of stuff. There's many other things you can do, like, that also, brings up adrenaline in your body. Like, I don't know, go sing in karaoke. That's scary. Go dance in public. Oh, that's really also scary, by the way. Like, there's a lot of things you can do, that are scary. Like, try to pick up a feral cat. That is like, it's not gonna kill you, but it's quite scary, Oh god, this is nuts. This has been crazy out. Like, I've been like on this story nonstop. And then I also went into this whole rabbit hole of how Titanic sank. And Titanic was also a bunch of small things that went wrong. Not even small things, like the way the ship was built, the purity of the metal was not the best, or like not the best quality. The speed was too high. He was kind of warned about the icebergs. There was no binoculars for the watchers to spot the iceberg. Yeah, it was a lot of shit that went wrong. There was not enough lifeboats. Lifeboats were not filled properly. I've noticed any accident has like many things that go wrong before something goes wrong. It's like the combination of things. It's like only one thing that goes wrong and everything goes to shit. It's like a combination of like small things that really decides the shit. People, stay safe. Do not do crazy stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode next week. We're gonna talk about, I don't know. We're gonna talk about something. So thank you very much for watching Not So Hot Show. See you next week. Bye-bye. This is me trying to seduce you guys with my short legs. I know, short legs are sexy. So hot show.
That's hot. No, it's not. Like, literally.